Welcome to the Advertising Forum. This is episode 3 of our Identity series, sponsored by Intent IQ.
Today we have Roy Schkedy, chairman of Intent IQ, and Gil Dedkowitz, the CEO of Start.io. We'll be chatting with Roy and Gil for episodes 3 and 4 of the series, which I'm looking forward to. Roy, Gil, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Bob.
So, Gil, this one's for you, the first question. Can you just briefly describe your role and how Start.io and Intent IQ collaborate on identity solutions, specifically for publishers?
So, hey, first, thanks really for having us. I'm a CEO and founder, so basically I'm trying to do everything and anything needed. But essentially, as a third company I'm running, this one is helping to monetize app developers from each size, small, big, large, and try to help them to monetize their applications. And we're working with Roy and Intent IQ to actually help identify the users better, try to make sure that we are serving the right user with the right ad at the right time, and essentially connecting the data into the marketing and into the advertisement. We'll talk about it later on more, but really the goal is to actually make sure that we are having the right identity to the users.
When dealing with publishers, there's consistent challenges in the market. There's regulation, privacy regulation, there's disappearing cookies, third-party cookies. Can you tell me some of the biggest challenges you face and how you're addressing those? And I'll point this one towards Roy. I'd love to hear your feedback on that one.
This Intent IQ has been working on the identity challenge for actually over 15 years. This is our core. We're really a technology company at heart. I would argue that one of the reasons that Intent IQ solutions in the market gain traction is because for us, consumer is always the center. We're huge believers that what's good for the consumer, that's what's good for the industry. That's where it starts, that's where it ends, actually. Regulation. Once again, we go back to the consumer. It's all about consent. For example, in the web environment, such as a cookieless environment, we will literally pick up the signal in real time from the website, whether the user accepted the cookies on the website, which includes, for the first-party cookies, because there's no third-party cookies, which will include the Intent IQ cookie, or they did not. And we will literally address it by side. You cannot be more compliant than that. In terms of technology, and then once there is the consent, the magic happens in the background with that technology that I mentioned that we've been working for over 15 years to tie it all together. That's on a high level.
So, Gil, can you speak to how Intent IQ's technology combined with Start.io's platform actually boosts monetization and audience insights for the publishers across the ecosystem?
Yeah, I'll go into it. I'm basically Roy speaking about the users, and I'm speaking a bit about the publishers. And if you really look on what the publisher is good about, and when I'm saying publishers, can be a news publisher, can be a game publisher, weather, name it, okay? What they are really good about is creating amazing content. They are not into understanding what's the compliance that they need to do in terms of regulations, in terms of identity, in terms of privacy, many other things. We are looking today in a global village of publishers that maybe in France or India or Italy or the US or anywhere else, and the users are global. And the same as they're using advertising a platform like us in order to actually monetize it, they are trusting companies like us as well for making sure that we know the regulation, because they usually, they're amazing people, they're amazing companies. It's not their core competency. So that's part of where we are coming into. And we are working with Roy and Intent IQ in order to make sure that we actually know the users, we know the identity. Obviously, all of it anonymous, but we know what ad to serve to whatever user to make sure that they get essentially higher CPM and more revenue, because that's what they're coming to us for.
First of all, we love working with Start.io. One of the things I love about Start.io and Gil in particular, very strict. They're following the rules. It's important to them to do the right thing. It's also important to us. I think there's a great fit in that culture. And together, we're providing value for the publisher And that value enables the publisher to provide value for the consumer, because it's targeted advertising is responsible for approximately 50 to 70% of the revenue of the typical publisher. And that 50 to 70% of targeted advertising means the person is targeted based on information that was collected on other websites and apps. This is exactly where there are identity, which being injected by Start.io into the bid stream, brings value to the entire chain. Now the publisher, once again, it's all cookie based. No, we don't know who's the actual person. Privacy is maintained, but nevertheless, the SSP and then the DSP, it says, oh, that person actually searched for a flight ticket 2 days ago, car insurance a week ago, and then the targeted ad is being delivered. How significant is it to the publisher? Well, if we go out to some imaginary website called news.com, the same user visiting that device with an iPhone and with an Android device simultaneously, news.com will make 3x as much revenues from that visitor ads on the Android device versus the iOS device, even though iOS household on average is the average household income for an iOS user is 40% higher than an Android. This is where we come in, and together with Start.io, we help the mobile.
So, Roy, I would say one more thing that you may touch on it more if you want, that the unique about this partnership as well is that we are basically, and we are changing it, but we are basically mobile app, which mobile app is not really cookie based, is advertising ID and other IDs. And part of the partnership is actually working together with Roy and with Intent IQ to really bring it together and to merge between the web and the cookie to the in-app, okay, which are two universes that usually don't really speak well together, or not as they should.
Spot on. So in the example I gave, think about it as a news web app, and as a new mobile app, they'll be targeted based on what they did on a Chrome browser, for example. But exactly what Gil said.
All right, that helps us get to the next question then. So this is, it sounds like an awesome partnership. And when you think about just the monetization, the commercialization, the audience, and most importantly, the identity, both of the audience and the publishers, and making sure that everyone works collaboratively and safe, making sure that it works for everybody. Gil, this question is going to be more so for you. How do you ensure that privacy is maintained while still providing publishers with the data and insights that they need to succeed?
So first, it's really keeping going on what's going on. The publishers actually trust us to do it and to make sure that we know, that we understand what is CCPA and what is COPPA and what is the regulation in different places in the world. And we are following it continuously and making sure that, we'll do it the way that it should be done. But we also with the approach that this is changing. Okay, some of the information that wasn't considered privacy before is private today. If you look on the industry 5 or 10 years ago, location was fine. Okay, personal ID was really login, email, phone numbers. Location wasn't an issue. If you look on the last few years, location became a big issue. So making sure that we are following the trend in the industry, making sure that we do the right thing is critical. The approach we took from day one is that we don't really want to force any users to do anything or get any advertisement that he doesn't care about. Practically, we don't make money from users that don't want to really get any advertisement, so it doesn't really matter. It's a sleeve of our vest, but it does work extremely well. We see the users again and again, and if they don't want advertisement, fine. If they want it and they want free stuff, amazing. But we are making sure to follow the industry continuously and use experts from other companies to make sure we are doing it the right way.
That actually brings us to the end of this episode. We are looking forward to chatting with you both again on episode 4. I know we're touching up on some additional topics related to sell-side identity challenges, as well as, really what sets Intent IQ apart from others in the market. I really appreciate both of your time, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you more in episode 4. And thank you to Intent IQ for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.